Well, I want to tell you that you've done excellent.
Thank you.
All right. There we are. Good morning, Facebook world. You are on Wake Up with Toastmasters, and we have guests, and I will let Phyllis Tribby tell us all about our special guest.
Good morning, Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome future Toastmasters. Yes, today I am your host. Usually I'm here on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but because of our special guest, Toastmasters International has set down some rules. And one of those rules is that the district's top 3 officers cannot be involved in this interview. So that eliminates 3 of our hosts that are on Wake Up with Toastmasters. And our special show today is that we will be talking with the 2 candidates for International Director from Region 2. From District 49, Distinguished Toastmaster, past District Director, accredited speaker, Robert Carvalho. Robert, good morning.
Good morning to you, Phyllis and Jennifer. How are you doing, Jesse?
Very good.
From District 115, Distinguished Toastmaster, past District Director, past Region Advisor, Jesse Oakley. Good morning, Jesse.
Good morning, Phyllis, and good morning, District 115 Toastmasters. It's great to be here.
Thank you. For our viewers, we have rules set forth. We must have both candidates on at the same time. We must ask the candidates the same questions. So what will happen is I will give a question to one candidate, then the same question to the next candidate. After that, they can have approximately 3 minutes to answer that. Depending upon whether they are longer or shorter, will depend how long our program is. Always, we ask our audience to comment on Facebook. That's why we are live. We cannot stop the program to take comments and questions, but any comments or questions that are put on the Facebook page will be forwarded to our candidates after the show, and they will follow up on those so they can answer them themselves. So please go ahead and ask questions. Go ahead and make comments. They're going to know about it in the future. Robert, describe your best Toastmaster accomplishment.
My best Toastmaster accomplishment is certainly helping other Toastmasters succeed. I think that we all join Toastmasters as end users to improve our communication, leadership skills. And sometime along that Toastmaster journey, it hits us and we realize that it's about helping others achieve their goals. And that really is one of the greatest gifts that Toastmasters offers us. When you see that shy, timid new member at his first club meeting, and maybe you mentor them or evaluate them or coach them, and you see them grow into this wonderful, confident Toastmaster, and you realize that you had a part of that journey, the feeling is overwhelming, and you want to do it again and again. And I think that's one of the greatest gifts that Toastmasters offers us. And I believe that's one of my greatest success stories is when I help another Toastmaster accomplish their goals.
Thank you, Robert. Jesse, describe your best Toastmaster accomplishment.
Madam Moderator, I've performed many roles within Toastmasters, be it District Governor and past Region Advisor. I became a Distinguished Toastmaster, but the best accomplishment that I've ever done in Toastmasters within the past 20 plus years is marrying my wife, Dana Wall Oakley. And the reason why I say this is, what better partner to have than Dana Wall Oakley? And it goes to show you that Toastmasters is more than just communication and leadership. You can actually make some new friends. You can actually be a part of a wonderful community. And in some lucky terms, you can also marry a Toastmaster. And you know you have a good diehard Toastmasters when one, you get married on July 1st, 2012. That's only the first day I became District Governor. That's also the time where Dana actually had ended her Distinguished Toastmaster or High Performance Leader Project. and our high performance leadership project was the wedding. And I and I asked her, is there anything that you want me to do? And she said, go ahead and just stand at the altar and just be there. And that's one of my major accomplishments, is marrying my beloved wife. And we've been going out strong together for 10 years of wedded bliss, 10 years of Toastmasterness. And Toastmasters is really in the family when your main advisor and your main evaluator of the overall event happens to be your mother-in-law, Phyllis Wall. So we are all distinguished Toastmasters. We all get together and we are all part of a strong unit, a strong community. So for me, my best Toastmaster accomplishment is none other than my beloved wife, Dana Wall Oakley. Love you, honey.
Thank you, Jesse. Jesse, if elected, what would you bring to the International Board?
What would I bring to the International Board? I would bring my 23 years of experience to the International Board as an engineer. And as an engineer, I developed my skills on strategic planning, project management, as well as budgeting and financing. And it is very interesting that I look at what I do as an engineer and what I do in the board. With the engineer, I get a chance to work with fellow partners, a la project managers, contractors, manufacturers, and everyone that's relevant to the project. And we have our own structure. We have a pre-construction meeting where we talk about our plans, estimated time of completion, our costs, and get a chance to have a town hall with communities that are involved in the project. And then we talk about what's happening during the project. We talk about what's going well, what needs to be improved upon. If there's any setbacks, we need to fix that and focus on that. And we focus on the post-construction meeting where we had a chance to talk about what went well, what can be improved upon, and what to expect for the next project cycle. And when I look at what I do here as an engineer against what I do here for Toastmasters, I can see that it pairs up very well with what I do. And what I bring to the table for Toastmasters is my engineering background. If I'm able to do that, it suits me very well.
Thank you. Robert, if elected, what would you bring to the International Board?
I really appreciate Jesse's comments. He brings a certain expertise to the board. I just bring a different expertise. 30 years of law enforcement, I just bring a different perspective. Unlike Jesse, I'm not an engineer or an attorney or a CPA. I'm just a beat cop with that sixth sense. I'm used to dealing with the who, the what, the where, the when, the why, the how. Before I make any decisions, I gather all the information and then make that decision. So I think I just bring a different perspective. I served 8 years as a hostage negotiator, so conflict resolution is certainly in my wheelhouse. And as many of you know, board meetings can sometimes have conflict in it. So I certainly bring that as well. I serve on boards currently here in the state of Hawaii, and I understand the fiduciary responsibilities of a board member. I understand how the whole dynamics work, so I bring that experience as well. So really, Phyllis, I think I just bring a different perspective with that 30 years of law enforcement experience.
Thank you. Robert, what advice would you give to someone who is interested in stepping up to leadership?
Do it. It's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. As you were speaking with me earlier before we went live, Phyllis, about Toastmasters providing us an opportunity to be a lifelong learner, which is something to be grasped at. Being a lifelong learner is imperative to our own development, and taking on a leadership role here in Toastmasters certainly provides you that opportunity. My name is on this ballot simply because I was asked. It was never my dream to be an international director, a candidate. And if you take me back to 20 years ago when I first joined Toastmasters and you said, in 2022, you'll be an international director candidate, I'd say, no way. But look, here I am. And I'm here because I was asked. When we reach out to other Toastmasters and we provide them the opportunity, you open that door, it really is, it's necessary for them to step through that door because they're going to learn so much more about not only Toastmasters, but about themselves. So if I was giving advice to an individual Toastmaster who's providing an opportunity to take on a leadership role, I would say go for it. It'll be the best ride you ever had.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right.
Jesse, what advice would you give to someone who is interested in stepping up to leadership or leadership role?
I agree with Robert. You just have to do it. It's like the Nike slogan, just do it. And for someone that actually asks you this question, they're actually saying something from a quote of a world champion of public speaking. I see something in you, but I don't know what it is. And that gives you an idea like, this person believes in me. This person believes in my capabilities. And I can understand that this person actually sees something in me to take on a role of leadership, whether it be area director, division director, district director, international director. They see something in me. For the people out there that want to know some more advice, I have 4 different advice tips for you. One is from the words of the late international director, right, past international director, distinguished Toastmaster, and the credit speaker, Don Inch. And he always says, stay the course. No matter what happens in your adventures and your journeys in leadership, always stay the course. Never quit, for quitting is worse than failing. When you go from point A to point B, you find out it's not just about the end results. It's about the journey, it's about the process. The other thing that you have to face is face the storm. Yes, we have our ups and down moments in leadership. And when you do see the storm, you actually have FEAR, fear. And it's how you translate that fear. You can either forget everything and run and face everything and rise. And if you face everything and rise and face the storm, then you know that you're ready for the journey. The third thing I'll say is do it afraid. If you hear the boom, 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 boom in your heart, if you see the nervousness, if you see the stuttering, if you see the stammering, then it's time to actually do it and just jump right into the action. And then also go for the dream and go for the win. You just can't have this attitude of, oh, okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just take on this role. No, you have to have that positive attitude. You have to have the enthusiasm. You have to have the encouragement to actually go in for the win. So those are 4 advices I have for you when it comes to taking on a leadership role. Just do it. Stay the course, face the storm, do it afraid, and go for the win.
Thank you. Jesse, what would you say is the biggest challenge facing Toastmasters International today?
Oh my, the biggest challenge facing Toastmasters today. I know we pride ourselves in being a communication and leadership organization. But for me, the biggest challenge we face is communication. I see communication on different forms. You have communications that involves reaching out to Toastmasters International, reaching out to world headquarters. Now, I've done interviews before, and I noticed that it would take 5 times for some people to actually reach Toastmasters and get a response. For me, that is 5 times too many. If you want to serve your members and serve your community the best way you know how, you have to be very responsive. You have to give that opening ear. You have to let people know how much you care. And 5 times is not working. Another level of communication I do see is the different time zones. Heck, Robert is there at 3 o'clock in the morning, actually doing this interview with Wake Up with Toastmasters. And I give kudos to that. When I was a region advisor, I see training where I wake up at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, along with world headquarters in Denver, with my fellow Toastmasters in Australia and in New Zealand and in China, in Japan. They'll wake up in the morning to actually be a part of the training. And for me, I find it to be very interesting. Now, if we had our own time zones on the Americas and Europe, Africa, and Middle East, and India, and then Australia and China, that is fair training, then we actually can get up at a respectable amount of time and get the same quality training for everyone around the world. And also communications, I noticed that the delivery shipment is quite an issue. I speak to different Toastmasters in Australia, in Asia, in Africa, and they have different issues with shipping from world headquarters over to where they are. And you want to know how much time it takes? For some people, it takes at least 1 month. For other people, it takes 6 months to get from order to their house. And for me, that is a huge issue. And we got to figure out the way that we can reduce the waste and make sure that the circle is tightened when it comes to order to world headquarters, the shipping, the postage back to world headquarters. And that, as I do see, is communication. And communication issues, for me, is a big issue within Toastmasters.
Thank you. Robert, what would you say is the biggest challenge facing Toastmasters International today?
Thank you, Phyllis. I agree with everything Jesse mentioned, but I think the biggest challenge that Toastmaster faces is keeping our Toastmasters safe around the world. And I guess that comes from my background in law enforcement. This pandemic has certainly stymied all of the organizations worldwide. And so I think that's most important, that we make sure our Toastmasters are safe. Now, that's not really our responsibility, because everyone's responsible for their own safety, but we don't want policies or procedures in place that might endanger our Toastmasters around the world. I also see that membership has been a challenge for Toastmasters. Of course, I blame the pandemic on that. Bringing our membership back to the numbers that we need to have for sustainability, I think, is important. If you look at the CEO's report, membership is up, however slight, but I am an optimist. So I believe that once we can get through this pandemic and get back to business that Toastmasters has been doing for almost 100 years successfully, I think that we will see membership increase. And of course, with membership increase, then there would be dues payment, which helps us on the financial side of Toastmasters as well. So first and foremost, the safety of our Toastmasters around the world and building membership.
Thank you. This program is going very well, so we're going to continue with a couple more questions. Robert, what do you admire and respect about your opponent?
Oh, Jesse Oakley the third, are you kidding me? Him and his strawberries. Jesse and I went up the ranks together when we did district leadership, so we would see each other at the different trainings and such. And I just saw Dana not too long ago when I was at a speech contest over there in Las Vegas. So I love Jesse, and I will tell you this, I respect Jesse for stepping up and taking on this challenge. I believe that both Jesse and I have given a great gift to Toastmasters, and that is choice. If Jesse or I were running unopposed, then this Facebook Live would really not matter that much. But the fact that we both stepped up for this position and we've given Toastmasters around the world a choice, I think that we've already won, regardless of what happens after the conference. So I admire Jesse for stepping up and realizing too that, and I'm sorry if I'm speaking for you, Jesse, but I think you would say this too. We're not doing this for ourselves. We're doing this for Toastmasters around the world. That's why we're doing this. Sure, are we going to glean from this experience? Absolutely. I've learned a great deal already just during this campaign. Really, we're doing this for you. And as I mentioned in my previous answer, it's one of the greatest gifts of Toastmasters, that you realize that it's not about you, it's about serving others. And that's what Jesse and I are doing by running or by having our campaign for International Director for Toastmasters. So Jesse, you know, love you. Hats off. Thank you very much for stepping up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Jesse, what do you admire and respect about your opponent?
Now, this is one question that really gets me, because I do not see Robert as an opponent. I see him more as a campaign brother. And the reason why I say this is because I'm the only son out of 4 children, and I never had a brother in my life. Yes, I have brother-in-laws, but for me to actually work with Robert, I see him as a campaign brother. And the best advice I can give to different people out there is, don't run against somebody, run with somebody. And this is what Robert and I are doing. We're not running against each other, we're running with each other. And when I say that, I'll go ahead and answer this question. I admire Robert for one word, and that one word is passion. I see passion on different ends of the rainbow with Robert. I see his passion when it comes to serving as a police officer and working for the police community. I see passion for his service in Toastmasters, as well as the speeches that he's given in order to become an accredited speaker. And also see passion as a gentleman, as a wonderful human being, able to do what is always best for anyone that's out there that is within reach or out of reach within him. Those are the types of passion I do see in Robert Carvalho. And for me, when I found out that Robert was running, the word I said was fantastic. This gives a choice for Toastmasters to select for International Director from Region 2. Whether it's myself or whether it's Robert, we know that the real winners in this is the communities of Region 2 Toastmasters and Toastmasters International in general. So for me, I respect and I admire the passion that Robert gives on different levels within Toastmasters, the community, and the world. Thanks, brother.
Thank you, Jesse. Jesse, you get our next question.
All right.
Where do you see Toastmasters in the next 5 years?
Where do I see Toastmasters in the next 5 years? Now, before I even answer that question, if you were to ask me that in 2015, I could give different Toastmaster answers. I could give the basics on membership. I could give the basics on the goals and the ideas and all the numbers I can. But that was 2015. And you add 2015 with 5, and guess what? You get 2020. And I don't think anybody would have predicted the pandemic that we were faced in 2020. So for me, when it comes to 5 years from now, I do see hybrid being a plus, especially for strong global connections. I also see the upkeep and improvement within Toastmasters, whether it be improvements in increasing numbers by membership, increasing numbers in clubs, and increasing numbers in sales, as well as increasing numbers in strategic planning. So for me, I see those numbers increasing step by step and bit by bit. Additionally, I see effective training that's happening within the world to the point where you have someone actually waking up at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning instead of 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, or midnight. With all due respect, Robert, I know you're there at 3 o'clock in the morning. And in addition to that, I also see within Toastmasters International a wonderful service and a wonderful product, and actually good delivery service and good customer service within Toastmasters. You could be somewhere around the world and actually get that right customer service locally and globally. And if you're able to see that, then that's truly fantastic. Now, for me, those are the things I do see 5 years down the road within Toastmasters. Will Toastmasters get up from this pandemic? I believe it's already there, making the way in their making the right process. So for me, that's what I see 5 years from now.
Thank you. Robert, where do you see Toastmasters in the next 5 years?
Yes, as Jesse has mentioned, we are brothers and we are cut from the same cloth. I certainly agree with everything that Jesse has spoken about. This pandemic has certainly thrown us for a loop and nobody expected it. I'd like to see the silver lining on every black cloud, and this pandemic has certainly been a black cloud. And I think it has forced Toastmasters' hand into this platform with Zoom or Microsoft Office or whatever platform you use. And I think I see it as a plus for Toastmasters. Jesse has mentioned some of the positive impacts of going globally with this platform. I can see certainly would support hybrid in the future, as long as it was cost effective for our members and it was easy for them to accomplish. Hopefully it's something we can just use our smartphones for. But I can see the opportunities of doing a hybrid and getting Toastmasters involved around the world in simple meetings. I look at the opportunities for experiences for our Toastmasters. Why can't someone in Hawaii who wants to learn Japanese visit a Japanese club that speaks Japanese during their meetings and practice that skill set? So the opportunities that are presenting themselves are unbelievable. And I think Toastmasters in 5 years will have taken advantage of all those opportunities and really strengthen itself through the numbers, through members, because of that global reach. So that's what I'm looking at in the next 5 years for Toastmasters, a successful organization. And we've been successful for over almost 100 years. We know what we're doing. We just have to continue and improve.
Thank you, gentlemen. That will be the end of our questions today. And I truly appreciate you both stepping up and coming on Wake Up with Toastmasters. We will have final comments from each of our candidates. First, Robert.
Well, thank you very much, Phyllis. And I want to thank you too, and Jennifer, and of course, Jesse, for meeting with us today and providing us with this opportunity for growth. Like I said, Toastmasters provides us that opportunity to be a lifelong learner. And as I mentioned too, I'm learning so much just being in this campaign, learning a lot about Toastmasters and about my colleagues and speaking to district leaders around the world. But what I'm really learning about is myself. What are my strengths and weaknesses? If elected, what do I have to work on to be the best international director that I can be for you? As I mentioned, it was about the latter part of last year when I was contacted by Toastmasters International Leadership Community and asked if I would put my name on the ballot. And of course, my first response wasn't no, it was no way, because that's pretty much our attitude when someone asks us to take on additional responsibility. But after I thought about it, I thought about what I brought to the table. My colleagues, of course, encouraged me. And then I remember my Toastmasters promise. Do you remember yours that you took when you first joined Toastmasters? Is about 10 bullet points, attend meetings regularly, do the best you can on all your assignments, and to take on a leadership role when asked. So the truth of the matter is my name is on the ballot because I was asked, and I keep my promises. All I can tell you is that if elected to the International Board, I will always do my best. I will always do what's right. And I will always, always treat others better than the way I would like to be treated. I think those are the keys to leadership. Those would be the keys for me, if elected, to be your international director for Region 2. I hope sometime during this 30 minutes, I've convinced you to vote for me, but nonetheless, cast your ballot. And we look forward to seeing you in Nashville.
Thank you, Robert. Closing comments, Jesse?
3 weeks. We are 3 weeks away from making a difference. You are 3 weeks away from making a selection on who do you want to serve as a board member from Region 2. We have 2 winning options here. We have Robert Cavallo and we have myself, Jesse Oakley III. Now the question is, why should Jesse Oakley III be elected onto the board? If I could sum it up in one word, it would be experience. And this experience could be seen in 3 different levels. I have the global experience within Toastmasters by serving as a region advisor and being a host district co-chair of a Toastmasters International Convention, where I had a chance to reach out globally and work with volunteers on a global scale. The next experience I do have is within engineering. Within the past 23 years of being an engineer, I built roads, highways, and bridges. I had a chance to work with engineers, contractors, and producers on different projects in Southern and Central Nevada. And through this, I learned strategic planning, project managing, budgeting, financing, and as much as I possibly can throughout my engineering career. Another experience I do have is customer service. And this was given to me by the American Red Cross. Whether it is writing an article, interviewing volunteers about their different stories, or also serving the community. Working with the American Red Cross as a volunteer gave me a chance to lead, to serve, and to listen through my mind, my ear, and my heart. With those levels of experience within Toastmasters, being an engineer, and serving as a volunteer for the American Red Cross, I bring a compliment to the table when it comes to working with the board. So if you're looking for a board director who's willing to work hard for you, get the job done, and do his best to the best of his ability, vote Jesse Oakley III, International Director candidate for Region 2. Madam Moderator.
Thank you, Jesse. And thank you both. I truly appreciate you both stepping forth to run as candidates and to appear today. To our audience, remember, August the 12th is the last day to get your proxy in. Don't let your club lose their vote. It is 6:27. We've got a 30-minute program in right on time. Our reminders, of course, are always join us every weekday at 6 a.m. on Facebook Live. We would love to have everyone around the world come and visit with us. It's only 30 minutes, it's a Zoom room, and then we go live. So it's not a problem for anyone to come and visit us. So please just let us know. Any one of the 4 of us knows the correct email address to send to get to us. We don't have our placket up today telling us what the email is, but it's definitely on District 115. Anybody that you know that's in this area, Jennifer, anyone, they all know us, so they can get information to us, and we would love to send you an invitation and the Zoom information to come and visit us for a half an hour. As other announcements, this Saturday night, 6 o'clock, is our game night. So please come and play a game. It is always surprising to me how they can take millions of games, it seems like, and convert them so they work on Zoom and Zoom rooms. Pictionary was, I thought, really something that worked well. So come and visit. That's around the world. Anybody can visit us. Again, send us an email. We'll shoot you the Zoom information. Jennifer, do you have an announcement? I see you pointing. Is something?
Whenever you say that, I was thinking of, or put them in the comments below.
Oh, yes. Okay. Put them in the comments. We'll get to you.
Yes.
Just because you comment at 2:00 in the afternoon or 10:00 tomorrow morning, whenever you make a comment, those comments are read. So don't think that your comments will not be read. And as I say, if you had comments for our speakers today, we will shoot them out to them so they can answer you direct. I think that's the end of the show. Are we ready to go, Jennifer?
We are. Thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate it. And make sure you send out your votes or give your proxy out.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Aloha.